Okay, hi everybody. So today is June the 4th, and I'm going to go over in my garden to harvest a couple things because I think after, because I did a live a couple days ago, um, I think it's some stuff in there that's ready to come out of the garden. So let's go over there and see what's going on. Okay, and today is a really nice hot day. I watered a lot. So everything shouldn't been shouldn't be in any need of any water. Okay, so we're gonna harvest these mustard greens. Let's see. Oh yeah, because I really don't like my greens to get this big, but will do. I'll just cook them down a slower time in the pot. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with these, and I'm going to take out this cauliflower, and I think I have some cauliflower back there. So yeah, so that's what I'm about to do. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy, and yeah, watch me harvest. Okay, so I'm gonna start with getting those mustard greens out of the way. I'm gonna get those out of the way. Um, since it is still early in June, I still have some time to put some other things down into the spaces that I'm creating right now. Because I do a lot of concession planting. So as I take something out of the garden, I replace it with something else. So I'll never have any spots in my garden because I like a real dense forest type like garden. I like my garden beds to be really thick and dense. So I used the square foot gardening method where I could get more food planted in really small spaces. Because, yeah, I enjoy the idea of a food forest. So that's what the harvest so
Let's
far
see what
looks
else we
like.
got.
And so I'm going to go ahead on and take out this cauliflower. And I think I'm going to let the two that's in the back of my little food forest go to seed. So I'll have some seeds of cauliflower to plant this fall. I'll start my fall garden like in the end of August, September, something like that. So I'm taking all these leaves off of the cauliflower. I wish I had my chickens because, yeah, it's a nice healthy cauliflower. Very nice. I'm very pleased with it. If I had my chickens, they could eat those green leaves. But since I don't have them, I'm going to just compost those green leaves for now. And here I'm just picking out some basil. Now I don't like when my basil get that big, but I've been slacking as far as with the garden. So that's why the basil is that big. But I'm going to make basil powder, so doesn't really matter that they're that big. Um, and I'll show you that later on in the video. So that's a nice little harvest for early June, don't you think? And right here, I'm gonna get out of all these chives because I make chive powder with them, and my guys seem to love that, the chives seasoning powder. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing with all of my herbs. I'm going to be drying them out, sun drying them, or either drying them out in the oven in the house and making seasoning powders out of them. Yeah, and it's so sad. These leaves are so nice and big. I don't know why my broccoli didn't grow. But at any rate, I got gaps. See how I got gaps like that? So no problem. I got something that I'm going to be able to plant in those spaces because, again, I like a really thick, dense garden. And here are those cucumbers that I planted in April. I did a video on how I planted them in a straight row, and I had to put a little fence up for them to have something to grab on to. But yeah, they're doing really, really good. They're growing faster, much faster than I imagined. And oh, and let me remind you guys, my garden is organic, okay? Everything in the garden is organic. The soil, this is why I compost in place. And look at the peppers, they're growing so nicely. Everything grows really fast in my garden. And people wonder why. Maybe it's because I compost in place with food scraps. I feed the worms that's in my dirt. Because a lot of my neighbors be wondering, how is it that my garden, booms so fast? Look at the tomatoes. I basically make up all my fertilizers myself. And these are my nasturtiums. They are pretty. You got to have some nasturtiums in your garden. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I make all my compost and fertilizers myself. And let me know if you would like to know what it is that I use. And all of the sisters, I did plant the 3 sisters. They are down. And look at how they look. And this is the first week of June. Now, a little bunny rabbit been digging in my garden. And he comes out early in the morning. And he comes over here in my melons as well. And he be digging and digging. I don't want to set up a little trap for him, but I think I'm going to just have to make a trap garden for him to keep him away from the main garden. So there, that spot and that empty spot is going to be big gaps that I'm going to have once I harvest everything. And my lettuce right there, I'm going to harvest that. And or I might let them stay and go to seeds, so I don't have to buy seeds in the fall. I think that's what I'm gonna do, because at first I was gonna cut them up and give them to him, this little bunny rabbit, but then I got something else I could give him. Those are the broccoli leaves I could leave over there. But there he is. He be watching me. He know when I be out here. And he's smart too. Look at him. He be watching me. So I'm just going to set up a little trap crop for him. And yeah, I had to shoo him on out of there. But I'm going to set up a little trap crop for him. So yeah, meanwhile I done harvest everything. Uh, there's the basil leaves. Everything's good and washed off, dried off. And those are the chives. I cut them up. And I just want the seasoning to be done with. So instead of letting them sun dry tomorrow outside in the sun, I'm just going to dry them really quick in my oven. So what I do is I just put them in the oven and I leave the oven a little cracked so they won't cook. Okay? And just let them dry out, and that's what they're going to be, nice and crispy. Now if you have some that's still soft, then that's not a problem. You could put it back into the oven. Now this is what I'm going to use to crush everything up. A lot of people may use other things, but you know, this is therapeutic for me. So at this point, you could add anything in there. You could add a little salt. I normally add a little pepper and some salt into my mixture because this is going to be seasoning. Okay, so if some of your leaves aren't crunchy and good to crumble up, just put them to the side, and you know, if you want to put them back into the oven to finish drying out, you can. Or in my case, I'm being, you know, lazy tonight, so what I'm going to do is the ones that isn't done, I'm going to just put them in my compost bucket in the kitchen to take back out and put in the garden as compost. But yeah, so that's what the seasoning look like, and I got a little container that I constantly fill up. But yeah, and at this point, like I said, you could add a little bit of salt, you could add a little bit of pepper, you could add some cracked black pepper to it. But basically this is chives. This is all chives right here. Yep, all chives. So I have containers in my cabinet of chives and onion mixed. I have some of chives and cilantro, chives and thyme. You know, so you can mix it with whatever you like, whatever you like, whatever your family like. I just make my, you know, seasonings the way how we like them. So now I'm just going to mix this batch of the onion chives with some of the basil to give it, you know, basil got a nice little kick to it. So yeah, the guys like these, you know, seasonings sprinkled on their burgers and, you know, things to that nature. On meats, I season it with. And yeah, so this is how I make some of my herb seasoning. I have lots of herbs in the garden. I'm gonna do a video just on herbs. So yeah, I love herbs, and I'm gonna be planting a lot of them, so I'll have a lot over the winter, because with the way how pricing is at the supermarket, I don't want to be buying and spending a whole lot of money on seasonings, you know. So there's my container. And I'm going to add in my chives and basil into that. And as time goes on, as the summer goes on, that container will fill up and fill up because herbs grow really quickly. And this is the third batch, and I'll just crunch that on up. And there you go. Make it into a powdery substance to sprinkle on my meats and in my food like spaghetti and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's all of what we made for tonight out of the chives and basil that we got out of the garden. Well, hello everybody. It is now Friday, June the 5th, and I'm going to show you guys when I start a new plant, a new pot rather, how I fertilize the pot and get it ready to put down whatever it is I'm going to plant in it. So I normally compost heavily because I feed my soil. I believe in feeding the worms in the soil and making sure the soil is healthy. And then I put whatever it is I'm going to put into the pot. So these are some little pots I got from Dollar Tree. They're not even planters buckets, these. So what I'm gonna do, I got one right there and one right there. So I got my soil, and I got a whole bunch of kitchen scraps, and I'm gonna show you guys how I'm going to pot everything together. So stay tuned. Okay, so I start out with putting some sticks and stuff in the bottom of the pot just to create like a little air pocket for drainage, okay? And make sure if you use one of these, you punch holes in the bottom so you will have good drainage, okay? So then I just put a little bit of soil in, and these are just some of those leaves that I picked out of the garden yesterday that wasn't no good, and along with kitchen scraps. Oh, excuse me guys, I'm yawning. Kitchen scraps, you know, some of that leftover basil, and there I just put a shovel full of regular compost dirt in the pot. And here we are now with the stank stuff. This stuff stank. It's cow manure, and this is one of my secret weapons in the garden because, again, I told you my garden is organic, okay? Yeah, some things I mix this with, and some things I just plant straight in, like some of my tomatoes that's in these starts down here. I planted them straight into compost manure. Like this is a tomato I grew from seed. I planted that straight into the compost. What compost? I keep saying compost. The manure, the cow manure, and they grew like crazy. But that worked for me. I'm not saying that that's a do-all thing, but it worked for me, okay? And I had y'all in my greenhouse, and you saw all these starts from the beginning, from seed. But yeah, that was what I did, was plant directly in compost. So there, I'm just fitting the plant down into the pot in its size and shape, just to make things more easier. And look at that root system. I grew that from seeds, okay? So if I could do it in that little cheap greenhouse, you could do it, okay? Especially with the recall they having on tomatoes. Y'all crazy. I'm not buying another tomato out of the market from here on out. I'm going to plant my own, whatever I could plant, wherever I'm living, I'm going to grow it on my own. Because the way the world is, things is going to be too crazy. And yeah, even over the winter months. That's why I'm glad I did plant a lot of tomatoes, because I'm going to can a lot of my tomatoes for over the winter. So there, I just used this little bucket, ice cream bucket, that all the guys ate all the ice cream out of. And I got a little bit of regular soil right there. So that just shows you that gardening don't have to be this expensive bougie thing. You could use anything as buckets. And see, I have an old spoon right there I picked up out of a flea market for 26 cents. Was a gravy spoon, but I use it in the garden because it helps me do what I'm doing right now. And so it helps me scoop out little bits of dirt and water the plants. So gardening don't have to be this really expensive thing. So yeah, so that's that plant. And this is another tomato plant. Now these are slicer tomatoes. So the tomatoes are expected to be really big and thick when these plants do grow their tomatoes. So here, there's bucket number 2. And I put a little bit of dirt in, and I got the rest of the kitchen scraps because, I'm composting right in place. Add a little bit of dirt, compost dirt, and I compost with regular, food scraps. I don't put meat into my garden scraps. I don't do that. It's just, old veggies and, leaves, nitrogen. Okay? So there, I'm fitting in plant number 2, and look at that root system one. Those tomatoes, they should really grow nicely. And let me put on my gloves because I'm back over here at the stank stuff. This stuff stinks, okay? But the tomatoes and all of my whole garden loves this stuff. So I will continue using the cow manure. Now I'm lucky that I just so happen to live out in the country, across from a farm, and it constantly stinks out here because of the farmers, the professional farmers across the road from me. So there, you can see the difference in the regular soil and the stink stuff. So there, I got my mixture of the stank stuff and regular dirt. And I'm just going to scoop it on down in and around my tomato plant number 2. But yeah, so I don't have to worry about the neighbors complaining about my garden stink. Or, I smell your compost and all this and that, because it constantly stinks out here. Right across from us, there's farmers, and they come out and they flood their manure, and it stinks for weeks. So I could get away with, little odors and things like that in my garden until they die down, because the smell do die down, but not saying that I won't use a chemical, because I do have Miracle-Gro, and I do have a lot of different Miracle-Gros that I use, but I only use them if my plants are in danger, like they're not getting enough of something like magnesium, and I need it to be treated immediately. Something like when you get sick and you have to get a penicillin shot. I want something, if the plants are having a deficiency, I want to save them, and I don't want to have to wait 2-3 weeks. That's the good thing about Miracle-Gro. When you use that, whatever it is you use, it goes right directly to the root system of your plants. And whatever they're having a deficiency in, it'll be cured. But right here, you see me using something that I made up at home, a calcium supplement that's full of calcium and magnesium. that I made up on my own. So I'll make a video showing you guys how I made that. But my tomatoes absolutely love this mixture. And like I said, you can make it yourself with regular items that you have around the house. And it's a calcium supplement. And this is one of the secrets of how I get my tomatoes to grow so fast. And the garden absolutely thrives off of this stuff. I'll show you how to make it soon in the next video, okay? So that's all for today, you guys, in this video. So I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned a little something. It is so hot out here. I feel like I'm melting. I feel absolutely like I'm melting. Hi. One of my neighbors. So, yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember to take care of yourselves and each other. It's important that we do that. And I'll see you guys in the garden in the next video.